Do you have toxic relationships? I'm going to tell you how to determine if your relationship is toxic. And we're not just talking about romantic relationships, because many times we also have toxic relationships with parents, children, friends, or siblings. Because a relationship is toxic when it doesn't flow the way it should, when it's not healthy, when it makes us feel things that no relationship should make us feel. When I talk about the kinds of feelings that no relationship should ever give us, I'm specifically referring to the feeling of being attacked, the feeling of being hurt, or the feeling of being mistreated. Relationships that don't flow, relationships that harm us, that aren't good for us, that we keep holding on to because we feel obligated to when it comes to family, out of nostalgia, when it comes to old friends, or out of our comfort zone when it comes to a partner, and we tell ourselves that we don't leave because we're in love, when in reality we never stop to ask ourselves how we could possibly fall in love with someone who mistreats us. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Life is too short to live it badly. We have to understand that everything in life is very costly. Achieving the things we want, studying, working, trying to be happy. And honestly, if on top of all that we add having to deal with relationships that hurt us, that do us harm, with people who attack us, who mistreat us, no matter who they are, the truth is that life becomes very difficult. That's why it's important to stand our ground, look within ourselves, and understand that we are valuable people, that no one owes us or can hurt us, that we shouldn't allow that, not even at work, and that we have to set boundaries. And if people don't respect those boundaries, unfortunately, those relationships will have to be cut off. And even if they are family relationships, we can't allow ourselves to be exposed to our parents or siblings hurting us, attacking us, or overwhelming us. It's truly very painful because it's doubly painful. Because when a stranger does it, well, it's not good and it hurts us. Now, when the person who is supposed to love you and be caring toward you is violent or aggressive, sometimes it's really better to put some distance and not go through those distressing and toxic situations where you end up destroyed by someone who is supposed to support, care for, and love you. That's why it's very important that we are able to realize what's happening to us in our relationships, because often, with the rush of daily life, with all the things we have going on, work, kids, studies, there are so many things we do every day that sometimes we don't have the chance to stop, think, and reflect. What is hurting me? What is harming me? What I need to change in my life in order to live better? And truly, one of the things we need to change are the relationships that aren't working, because the worst thing that can happen to us is having to deal with aggression, mistreatment, and distressing situations, since that causes us a level of anguish and anxiety and limits us in every other aspect of our lives. Because when we feel bad, when we're anxious, when we're depressed or sad, because we've gone through a difficult or unpleasant situation with someone we love, it truly affects every aspect of our lives. And it also ends up eroding our self-esteem, because deep down we start to realize that if we allow ourselves to be mistreated like that, it's because we deserve it, or because we believe we deserve it. And in reality, our self-worth as a person gets eroded because we keep allowing more and more things, and there comes a point when we believe we deserve anything, any kind of mistreatment. And that's really not okay. That's why it's extremely important for us to understand that there are things that are not right and that we shouldn't allow them. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be attacked. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be hurt. We shouldn't allow people to yell at us, to speak to us rudely, to talk to us aggressively, or judge us in ways we don't deserve. And we should only be surrounded by people who treat us as we deserve, because we are valuable people, and also because life is very difficult when you are being mistreated. Not to mention being with a partner whom we might see every day, and we come home, and when we should have a moment to relax, to rest, and to unwind from everything that overwhelms us outside, our home ends up being a super tense place full of aggression and toxicity. And it's really hard because if the world overwhelms us, because it's the world and it keeps going and it's not thinking about us or comforting us because things happen as they must. And then we come home, which is supposed to be our refuge, our place of peace, our safe space. And in that place, we end up facing aggression, violence, and truly harsh situations. Our life is going to be unbearable. That's why the most important thing is to take care of ourselves, because the only person who is truly going to look after us is ourselves. Because there are other people who are here today and might not be here tomorrow. And we have to start by taking care of and loving ourselves. And one of the things that we have to do first is to end the relationships that hurt us, relationships that are toxic, because we don't deserve that, because we don't deserve to live like that, and because life is short and we deserve to live it peacefully, calmly, and happily. And I understand that many times it's very difficult to let go, whether it's a romantic relationship or because of our relationships with family. But unfortunately, the only way to move forward and achieve our happiness is often to let go of relationships that hurt us, that wound us, and that don't allow us to grow and develop, because they keep us in a constant state of crisis and constant anxiety that overwhelms us. It takes over everything, it consumes our entire mind, and often doesn't even allow us to think, because we're so anxious and overwhelmed by toxic relationships that many times we can't even manage to get out of them. That's why what I recommend is that you check your relationships, that you really examine whether they're good for you, if you feel good, if you actually want to keep being there, if they help you in your life, if they make you feel calmer, if they make you feel loved, if they bring you peace. If they don't meet those criteria and all they bring you are situations of distress, tension, or crisis, get out of there. Let go, because you deserve to be happy and you deserve to be treated well, the way you deserve to be treated as a valuable person. Take care of yourself and love yourself. If you like the content of these videos, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what topics you'd like us to talk about.